So last weekend I may have created one of the most ridiculous online racing lobbies in Gran Turismo 7 history. I decided to combine one of the tightest and shortest tracks in the entirety of the game, coupled with some of the game's fastest cars. As well as that, I bumped up the tyre wear to 50 times, or the maximum amount, and just sat back and watched the carnage ensue. So let's go ahead and have a look how I created this. Well, as you may have noticed, we're running here on the Horse Thief Mile layout of Willow Springs. I combined that with the Group 2 class of vehicles, some seriously and very powerful bits of kit available, and I bumped up the tyre wear rate to the maximum at 50 times. So sit back and let's watch the carnage ensue for the Tyre Shredder 3000. And as you can see, this would be absolute chaos. Of course, we do have some of the powerfulest cars in the game, and going into turn 1 we're already seeing carnage unfolded as some cars ended up in the mountains, and well, there was a lot of bumping and bashing going on. And as you can see, even I managed to get caught up in this as we ended up running on the dirt, and then of course tried to get it to recover before quite quickly going back off the track. As for everybody else, it was a similar story. Tyre wear would kick in very quickly no matter what compound you're running, and if you was unfortunate enough to run the softs, this would happen inside a couple of corners. And then of course with a layout like this, you end up with those that might want to take advantage of a few corner cuts, and yeah, total kamikaze move right here as a car tries to leap on track. Now, lap 1 would eventually come to an end, some cars doing it a little bit more spectacularly than the others. As we can see, we had a flying NSX across the finish line onto lap 2. He did end up recovering thankfully though, so he would end up actually leading the early stages of the race. Then we had a Nissan GTR that thought it would be a good idea to try and test the track limits here, and well, he soon found out exactly what happens if you try and do these shortcuts. An instant reset way back. As for the rest of the field though, as mentioned, our flying Honda NSX would end up leading the field in the early stages. Now, one thing I didn't expect when it came to this race was drivers actually going for different strategies. We'd see some drivers pitting in early going for a 2-stop, some other drivers going for a 1-stop, and some drivers trying not to pit whatsoever. It was quite surprising just how different drivers would react to the overall situation they're in. And yeah, it seemed that some strategies were absolutely amazing and some, well, not so great. As you can see here in the background, this Lexus was one of the cars that wouldn't pit for the entirety of the race, and already halfway through on the racing hards there was just kind of nothing left. However, a very nice, stylish pirouette there. He did manage to get it recovered, just avoiding the other cars there, but as you can see, definitely not pitting wasn't the way to go. As for our lead car anyway, he would end up having a bit of an off on lap 7, trying to go as far into the race as possible on the racing hards. Yeah, unfortunately this would begin his downfall for the rest of the race. As you can see, taking a little bit of damage there, completely shredded tyres, and then also a little reset for good measure. However, his incredible lead would have been massively cut down by this point. Well, with P2 absolutely making the most of these racing hards and looking after them better, it was absolutely game on for that checkered flag finish now. And well, in terms of our leader, after his own little off, he'd then end up spinning around a GTR, which got in the way and kind of found out what happens at that point. So in terms of the pit stops though, we did have the couple of lead cars, so first and second pit in, and well, our lead car at this point would be one of the NSXs that went for a 0-stop strategy, at least at this point. And well, it was easy pickings for our lead car once again. However, he would then be hit with a 3-second penalty straight away, so pretty unfortunate considering P2 was really not far behind at this point. And as we went on to lap 9, once again another little accident would almost spell his downfall. As the leader went off, this allowed P2 to get up ahead of him. However, it then wouldn't be long before another off by the leader would then change positions once again. As you can see, trying to lap a bit of traffic and getting caught up with the CLK, that then spun around that leader only a couple of corners later. And well, our new leader gave the CLK a bit of a punt for good measure, and well, off went the lapped vehicle. So we still have the NSXs in the lead and another flying Nissan GTR for good measure, and really it was totally unfolding in terms of the different strategies here. As for myself, I did manage to work my way up through the field after that little bit of an off, picking off a non-stopping Honda NSX, and moved myself into podium position contention contention. And well, as for the rest of the cars that were still absolutely reluctant to pit, once again they would find out the hard way what happens when you're on completely shredded tyres and picking up damage. Another trip through the dirt there for the Audi RS5. And things would only get worse from there, as the CLK that went for a little bit of an off earlier on would end up wiping out the Audi and then getting caught up with a Honda NSX. So really unfortunate circumstances for our non-pitting Audi here that seemed to run into trouble left, right and centre, and the exact same for the CLK. Both of these cars trying their best not to pit and, well, like I said, finding out the hard way what happens in the Tyre Shredder 3000. Now once again I did manage to do a pit stop and had to overtake the non-pitting NSX once again as it went for a ride through the dirt, and well, back into podium contention. Giving the Audi a little nudge on the inside there, we managed to get away without any major collision. So approaching lap 14 and our leader pits in for a fresh set of racing softs. These should last until the end of the race. However, in the most bizarre circumstances, even surviving absolutely no grip, with full grip he just drives himself off into the hills, and this would allow Mira to come through and inherit the lead with only a lap to go. And at this point we have a new permanent leader in the form of another NSX concept. Nicely done there, Mira. However, Mira did have the 1 second penalty and he would have to serve this at some point, and well, P2 did manage to recover there, so it was still absolutely game on here between Mira and Punisher and both of the Honda NSXs in the dying stages. As for the rest of the field, this non-stopping Lexus SC430 once again went for another spin, and well, this time it would be collected by me. In the end though, after serving his 1 second penalty, Mira would end up clinching the win here for the first ever Tyre Slayer 3000. Punisher would end up second in the most dramatic circumstances, only just crossing the line in front of myself in 3rd place, and that would complete our podium. So well done to Mira, who takes the first ever Tyre Slayer 3000 victory in the Honda NSX. And there we go. I just wanted to do a fun little video just to highlight how ridiculous some of the GT7 online lobbies can be. If you do want to join one of these in the future, feel free to join my Discord linked in the description down below. This way you can keep posted when I'm hosting events, and quite often I'll, mix in some serious racing with something a little bit ridiculous to finish off. It's just a nice way to get a bunch of people together, have a laugh and just do something a little bit more stupid. Once again, highlighting that ridiculous side of Gran Turismo that's pretty much always been there. Anyway, I want to give a huge thank you to all of my channel members listed on screen now. Massive thank you for their continued support. If you do want to join, it is massively appreciated. And of course, a thank you to each and every single one of you that has watched this video. Again, if you do want to join in the carnage, feel free to head to the Discord link down in the description below, and I will post up every time I'm hosting one of these lobbies. I'll see you in the next one. Take care, guys. Peace.